The manhwa starts with doctors arguing with the rescue team. Even though danger is getting closer, the medical team doesn't want to leave the patient and run away. But the rescue team says they got orders from higher-ups to leave because zombies are coming to the hospital. When the medical team leaves and the rescuers go hunting, she suddenly opens her eyes in a very quiet room. She gets up from the bed, wondering why she's in this strange, dark place. The smell of blood all around makes her look for a bathroom to throw up. When she finally sees a person on the other side of a window, she tries to get his attention by hitting the glass. But she doesn't know that the person is dangerous. When he turns towards her, she gets really scared. His face is covered in blood, and he's running towards her like he wants to hurt her. It turns out he's already turned into a zombie. She can't believe what she's seeing and wonders what happened to the world. She knows she needs to leave this place as soon as possible. As she steps back, sweating and feeling really scared, she feels something behind her. A zombie girl is crawling towards her, growling, trying to hurt her. She decides to run out of this creepy place, thinking about what happened to the people in the city while she was unconscious. The sight of the zombies with their scary eyes and bloody teeth makes her really scared. She thinks about whether it's an infection or a disease as she runs out of the building. But even though she knows she's not safe inside, she can't run very fast because she's feeling so sick. She trips on something and realizes she can't leave the hospital in her current state. She's been feeling pain in her body since she woke up, and now her feet are almost numb, so she can't run anymore. She lies on the floor, crying because she can't save herself. Then she sees a doctor passing by and wonders if he's a doctor or a zombie. She tries to get his attention, but it's no use. It's really sad, because even the doctors in this hospital are zombies. She thinks she's going to die by the hands of a zombie, but then she remembers her childhood. It gives her the strength to fight for her life. She remembers her promise to get home safely, and that gives her courage. She grabs a nearby rod and fights the zombie. Just when things look really bad, a man comes to rescue her. He takes out his sword and cuts the zombie in half. He walks up to her, looks into her eyes, and gently wipes away her tears. Though this kind stranger has managed to save our young protagonist and kept her hopes alive. But do you guys think that she could have survived on her own with the rod in her hand? She shadows his every move, her mind buzzing with curiosity about his sudden quietness since the rescue. On the other hand, she grapples with the weight of knowing that her survival owed everything to this mysterious stranger. As they navigate through the hospital, the smell of blood becomes more pungent, a chilling reminder of the chaos caused by the zombies on this floor. Her vision blurs even more, leaving her feeling oddly weightless. Staying alert becomes a struggle, and she finally collapses into his arms. He gently scolds her for not mentioning her worsening health and asks for her name. She introduces herself as Eun Gee, and he quickly realizes she desperately needs to rest. But they're dangerously close to the exit, and this floor is swarming with zombies. She must summon her strength just a little longer. In the lobby, the harsh reality unfolds. The presence of so many zombies here explains the earlier danger in other parts of the hospital. The boy suggests a stealthy approach, advising Eun Gee to follow his lead and quietly find their way out. Unfortunately, her pale complexion betrays her inability to run. So Shuhei decides to scout for an alternate escape route. They take a brief moment to rest, allowing Eun Gee to regain her composure. Meanwhile, Shuhei searches for medical supplies and offers her some medicine to help speed up her recovery. Amidst the chaos outside, Eun Gee grapples with feeling like an outsider in this new, dire situation. Shuhei explains that it's an outbreak and marvels at how she managed to survive the zombie attack, making her the only one left from the incident. Turns out she slept through the entire nightmare and emerged unscathed. The question lingers. Is she telling the whole truth about what happened, or is there a deeper mystery lurking? What do you guys think? Write down in the comments section. As she voices her questions about the week-long outbreak, Shuhei promises to address her concerns. But first, they need to get out of this place. He sternly advises her not to use anything for defense against the zombies, and puts the rescue mission in his hands. These zombies rely solely on their keen sense of hearing, so her silence could be her saving grace. They arrive at the emergency ward, the very place Shuhei had entered from. Eun Gee senses an eerie stillness in this area, an unsettling quiet that puts her on edge. Suddenly, she detects a movement behind them. Shuhei urgently tells her to find the exit, but they come face to face with an unusual type of zombie. This one can see. An unaffected zombie stands before them. Shuhei explains that once infected, zombies usually lose their sight, along with their sanity, driven solely by a relentless hunger for human flesh. However, this doesn't apply to all zombies. Some retain their senses, able to see and assess their surroundings. These are far more dangerous, as their reactions to humans are entirely unpredictable. Suddenly, the unaffected zombie starts shouting, as if calling others to their location. Shuhei realizes that if he doesn't eliminate this particular zombie, their escape could become much more complicated. Swiftly, he dispatches the zombie and urges Eun Gee to run, knowing that a horde must be on its way after the commotion. Out of nowhere, Eun Gee is attacked by a zombie in combat attire, likely a member of the rescue team. However, her strike doesn't entirely incapacitate the zombie, and it seizes Shuhei's hand with a vice-like grip. Meanwhile, Eun Gee finds herself beset by a swarm of zombies. Shuhei manages to wriggle free and rushes to Eun Gee's aid, fending off the oncoming horde. Tormented by the thought of the zombie attacking the defenseless girl, he seizes the creature by its face and with a single powerful swing, severs its head. On the other side, Eun Gee, preoccupied with the wound on Shuhei's hand, anxiously asks if it might lead to infection or worse. He is her only hope in this nightmarish place. She berates herself for putting him in danger. However, his next revelation turns her world upside down. Shuhei confesses that he too is infected. He's one of them. Outside the hospital, Shuhei's friend anxiously waits for his arrival. While others contemplate his fate against the zombies, his friend is confident that whatever happens, Shuhei does not die so easily, and he will be back amongst them. Soon the guy with binoculars spots a man approaching them. It turns out to be Shuhei. However, they are intrigued by the odd presence of a woman on his back, thinking that she must be the survivor from the hospital. Eun Gee had passed out in the ward when Shuhei made the striking revelation. She did not expect him to be infected. Her mind strolls back to a flashback where her siblings insist Eun Gee not to leave them alone. Eun Gee assures her brother Kan and her sister Naru that she is going for a couple of days, and she will soon be back amongst them. She instructs her sister to use the food she brought, and to prefer staying inside the house until she returns. As her car strides along the empty road, she appears anxious about her calls not being answered. Her car suddenly collides with a person attempting to cross the road. She wakes up as a result of the accident, and finds herself in a bed. Her face is covered with dressing, depicting the wounds she sustained from the hospital. As she opens the door, she finds Shuhei impatiently waiting for her to come out. When he approaches her inquiring about her well-being, Eun Gee panics. She calls him a monster and slams the door in his face. Gutted by her response, Shuhei smashes the door in anger and asks her to come out and explain herself. However, fretted, Eun Gee questions her presence at his place and asks what he wants from her. Shuhei clarifies that he does not intend to harm her. If he had the same motives, he could have easily done it when she had passed out in the hospital, and she was completely defenseless. As he walks past the room, letting her ponder her thoughts and assess if he is a threat or a blessing for her. Moments later, Eun Gee realizes that she is entirely wrong about Shuhei. He is the one who saved her. She decides to come out of the room and approaches the kitchen where Shuhei awaits her with a smile on his face. Even though Shuhei does not consider himself like the other infected zombies. What do you guys think? Will he be a threat to outdear Eun Gee? Soon, she sits before Shuhei, uneasy about his stare. Shuhei offers her food for breakfast and inquires if she doesn't like the particular food, since she hasn't even touched any of the servings. Eun Gee quickly counters with questions regarding his reluctance to join her, but Shuhei is adamant that he has already satisfied his appetite. She insists he tell her about the outbreak, how this zombie phenomenon emerged, but Shuhei is quite reluctant to answer after the incident earlier. He's hurt by her harsh remarks, especially when she called him a monster. Shuhei expresses that he expects Eun Gee to be slightly more lenient and to apologize for her earlier remarks. He considers himself affected rather than a monster. Moreover, he is not pleased with her labeling his kind as monsters. He hopes she'll be considerate about his condition. While Shuhei communicates his grievances, Eun Gee's gaze assesses his appearance. He appears normal except for the fangs and eyes. She wonders if he's similar to the one they encountered in the hospital. She is pulled out of her thoughts when Shuhei reveals that her clothes were stained with blood and filth, so he replaced them with his own shirt and trousers. Eun Gee finds it hard to believe that Shuhei changed her clothes and even saw her naked. She warns him that she would kill him if he ever tries to repeat this. Shuhei bursts out in laughter. The boy who had saved her from hell now seems nothing short of a jerk, laughing at her miseries. The conversation is interrupted by a knock on the door. It's Shuhei's friend, who barges in. Shuhei rebukes his friend for forcing his way inside. Meanwhile, his friend looks surprised to find a female survivor. As far as he knew, all women and children were rescued from the city. However, Shuhei dismisses his assertion, explaining that he came across several infected females in the hospital, which means not everyone has been rescued. Some people have been intentionally abandoned as well. His friend advises taking Eun Gee to the pier so she can be rescued by the next mission. However, Shuhei clearly asserts that Eun Gee is not going anywhere. He believes it's foolish to think that the authorities will come back for their rescue. They've been left behind, and no one is coming for them. Shuhei rebukes his friend for holding on to unnecessary hope, which will do him no good, and only put him in a position to risk his life. No one is coming for them anymore. They are entirely on their own. Well, do you think Shuhei is being a little too harsh given the circumstances? And do you think they should keep their hopes alive of being rescued? I'm eager to hear your take on this. Their argument breaks Eun Gee into tears. All her hopes of seeing her young siblings seem to be falling apart. As accusations fly, reducing Eun Gee to tears, she steps in to clarify that it's not their fault. In truth, she's genuinely relieved to encounter other survivors. It's just that the constant threats outside and the fear of losing her siblings have begun to wear her down. She had resigned herself to the idea that her life would end at the hands of those zombies and had decided not to fight back at all. It was only the thought of her siblings that brought her back to her senses. She firmly believes that, like others fleeing the infected area, her siblings will find safety. She implores them for one more favor: help her locate her siblings and share whatever information they have about this unfortunate outbreak. Shuhei's friend reassures her that they will find her siblings together. She doesn't have to face this alone. But first, there's an important person she needs to meet. The boy introduces himself as Echo, and the place they're in is their shelter nestled in the heart of the woods. They've managed to fortify this place as their safe haven, taking turns on guard duty for added security. This accomplishment is largely thanks to Ishtar, the mastermind behind their sanctuary. Hearing about Ishtar's achievements, even Eun Gee is eager to meet the leader of this haven. Echo assures her that Ishtar is very approachable and encourages Eun Gee not to hesitate in asking her for any help. As Eun Gee accompanies Echo to meet Ishtar, all eyes turn towards her in admiration. Some boys can't resist passing remarks and trying to flirt with her. This prompts Shuhei to step in and warn them against even thinking about causing Eun Gee any harm. On their way, he remarks on Eun Gee's quick trust in people. Just moments ago, she was ready to strike him, and now she seems unfazed by a stranger holding her hand. Shuhei admits that he simply doesn't like the idea of those flirtatious boys hovering around her. Eun Gee, still shaken by Shuhei's unsettling demeanor, is led away by Echo. He escorts her to the shelter, announcing their arrival to Ishtar, who expresses her reliance on Echo for such tasks. Ishtar warmly welcomes Eun Gee and proceeds to introduce herself. 7 days ago, the first district was struck by an outbreak of a deadly virus. The only information available about this virus is its swift lethality, with infected individuals succumbing within just 5 minutes. What's more, after about a minute following death, the deceased seemingly come back to life, but not as normal people. Infected individuals turn into savage aggressors, mercilessly attacking anyone they encounter. Before anyone could grasp the gravity of the situation, the virus had already spread throughout the entire district, infecting nearly half of its population. A grim revelation strikes as the virus's transmission through biting becomes apparent, reshaping its victims into ravenous, brain-altered monstrosities. The virus's origins remain an enigma, eclipsed by the urgency of the escalating crisis. Control over the contagion is already lost. In response, the military is mobilized to facilitate the safe evacuation of civilians. Initially, the plan revolves around evacuating residents from the first district, encompassing nearby towns and villages. However, the relentless surge in reported cases forces the government's hand, mandating a mass evacuation to the port. Priority is extended to women and children, who are ferried away on large boats, while others are housed in refugee camps, biding their time for departure. As chaos and uncertainty loom, the nation of Eun grapples with the terrifying reality of a virus that knows no boundaries, leaving behind a trail of devastation and a population desperately seeking refuge from the relentless horde of infected. In a separate moment, Ishtar extends her understanding to Eun Gee, empathizing with the harrowing experiences she must have endured. Ishtar also elaborates on the grim reality that their country, Eun, is quite small, which may explain the rapid spread of the virus due to close proximity and limited resources. As their conversation progresses, Eun Gee musters the courage to request Ishtar's assistance in checking on her two siblings to ensure they have been successfully evacuated. Ishtar readily agrees to help Eun Gee with this crucial task. In a surprising twist, Ishtar's inquiry reveals that Eun Gee herself hails from the 1st District, the epicenter of the outbreak. This revelation adds another layer of urgency and personal connection to their quest for safety, amidst the chaos and uncertainty that now engulfs their homeland. Upon learning that Eun Gee originates from the 1st District, Ishtar inquires Eun Gee about how she ended up in the 12th District. Eun Gee explains that she had business in the 8th District, and while returning, was involved in an accident that left her stranded in the 12th District. Ishtar, deeply concerned for Eun Gee's well-being, vehemently advises her against attempting to return to the 1st District. She underscores the extreme danger posed by venturing there, as it is ground zero for the outbreak. On the very first day, half of the population in this once progressive district fell victim to the virus, forcing the military to enforce a strict lockdown, trapping all residents within its boundaries. The 1st District has become a perilous no-go zone, with survival chances dwindling rapidly, making any attempt to return a deadly gamble. Utility services have been cut off, leaving outsiders unaware of the dire situation within the 1st District. Ishtar informs Eun Gee that it has been a week since the outbreak began, and grimly suggests that her siblings may have already succumbed to the virus. Advising Eun Gee to prioritize her own survival, Ishtar begins to leave, but Eun Gee stops her. Eun Gee questions Ishtar about the moral dilemma of abandoning the people trapped inside the 1st District. She pleads with Ishtar, begging for a chance to check on her siblings within the quarantine zone. Ishtar, her voice heavy with the weight of her own traumatic experiences, attempts to convey the horror she witnessed when she was one of the soldiers assigned to seal off the 1st District. She couldn't bear to describe the dreadful scenes as the streets were overrun by the sounds of suffering, with the number of deaths surpassing the living. In a heated exchange, Eun Gee defiantly retorts to Ishtar, asserting her independence and making it clear that she will make her own choices. With that, she departs. Shuhei then confides in Ishtar, stating that if Eun Gee seeks his assistance, he won't hesitate to offer it, but Ishtar strongly disagrees. As their argument escalates, Krisla enters the scene and intervenes. Krisla emphasizes the importance of retaining Eun Gee, citing her significance in their ongoing research. Furthermore, Krisla expresses grave reservations about entrusting Eun Gee's safety to Shuhei, deeming it a perilous decision. Tensions rise as conflicting priorities and trust issues among the group create a palpable sense of unease, further complicating their already challenging circumstances. Like the video, if you guys think Eun Gee will be firm on her decision, despite conflicting advices from Ishtar, Shuhei, and Krisla. Inside the shelter, a fierce argument ensues between Shuhei and Krisla, with neither willing to yield their position. The dispute centers around Eun Gee's intention to go to the 1st District, and Shuhei's desire to assist her if she seeks his aid, a proposition firmly opposed by Krisla. As tensions mount and the argument intensifies, Ishtar intervenes, attempting to mediate and bring a sense of calm to the situation. Her focus then shifts to Shuhei, recognizing that he possesses vital information about the virus. Ishtar emphasizes that he is their best chance to obtain crucial details regarding the virus. However, Shuhei appears unconvinced and suggests that Ishtar shouldn't place too much faith in him. Frustrated, he strides forward and abruptly exits the room, slamming the door behind him, leaving behind a palpable air of discord and uncertainty. Following Shuhei's departure, Krisla aligns herself with his skepticism, expressing agreement that placing too much trust in him might be unwise. As their conversation unfolds, Ishtar, lost in thought, contemplates an alternative approach. In response to Krisla's inquiry, She suggests seeking Eun Gee's assistance in obtaining the necessary information. Ishtar confides in Chrysler, revealing her suspicions about Shuhei's potential interest in Eun Gee, a concern that adds an additional layer of complexity to their already fraught situation. Meanwhile, Echo diligently pursues Eun Gee, who walks in desolation after her contentious argument with Ishtar. Echo attempts to console her and downplays Ishtar's remark about her siblings not surviving the virus. However, Eun Gee grapples with guilt as she confides in Echo, admitting that she has always felt like a negligent sister to her step-siblings. This personal revelation adds depth to her character and the emotional turmoil she's experiencing amidst the crisis. As the group navigates these tangled dynamics and emotional hurdles, their collective quest for survival and understanding of the virus remains at the forefront of their minds. Echo extends his hand of comfort to Eun Gee, sharing a personal anecdote about his own brother's wishes for a different sibling, highlighting the complexities of family dynamics. He emphasizes the importance of cherishing the people they have in their lives. Eun Gee, feeling the weight of responsibility, expresses her desire to venture alone into the perilous First District, fearing harm to others on her account. In response, Echo hints at the possibility of someone who could provide Eun Gee with the help she needs, hinting at a potential ally or resource that might assist her in her challenging journey. Eun Gee eventually finds herself outside Shuhei's room, memories of her conversation with Echo fresh in her mind. Echo had confided in her, revealing that he had overheard discussions between Ishtar and Shuhei. Echo had shared a worrying piece of information. Shuhei was slated to be sent back to the First District. Concerned, Eun Gee had questioned the decision, and Echo had reassured her, highlighting how she had consistently helped them whenever the opportunity arose. Echo had stressed that Shuhei was their best chance for survival in this dire situation. As Eun Gee knocks on Shuhei's door, Shuhei himself unexpectedly appears from behind, casually mentioning that she needn't knock, as he had left the door unlocked for her. However, Eun Gee, guided by a sense of respect for personal boundaries, explains that it doesn't sit right with her to enter someone's personal space without prior notice. The tension between Eun Gee and Shuhei, coupled with the mysteries and secrets surrounding their group, deepens as they stand at the threshold of a new chapter in their shared journey. Shuhei informs Eun Gee that the room she is currently standing in will soon be hers after he departs. He suggests that she rest there without him as he prepares to leave. However, as Shuhei turns to go, Eun Gee unexpectedly grabs his arm, halting him in his tracks. Eun Gee, with a determined tone, implores Shuhei to take her with him to the First District. Her earnestness piques Shuhei's suspicion, and he questions why she is so insistent on this dangerous journey. Shuhei finds inconsistencies in Eun Gee's account of her journey, noting that her story involves an accident in the 8th District, which is in the opposite direction of her supposed arrival in the 12th District. As the conversation unfolds, the tension between Eun Gee and Shuhei deepens, with secrets and motives remaining shrouded in uncertainty, casting a shadow over their precarious situation. While Shuhei holds onto Eun Gee's arm, she experiences a sudden warmth emanating from his hand, a telltale sign that he is not infected. This realization washes over Eun Gee, and she promptly apologizes to Shuhei for branding him a monster earlier. Shuhei responds with a chuckle, acknowledging her as an intriguing individual. Moments later, Shuhei takes hold of Eun Gee's hand once more, expressing a desire to show her something. He invites her to accompany him, adding an air of mystery to their encounter as they step into the unknown together. Shuhei leads Eun Gee to the rooftop of the shelter, urging her to look into the distance. Eun Gee complies but finds nothing particularly noteworthy. Shuhei, sharing the same view, remarks that all they can see is the moonlight illuminating the surrounding greenery. He adds that in the past, they could have seen nearby cities and districts from this vantage point, but the power outage has plunged urban areas into darkness. Their conversation continues, with Shuhei emphasizing the grave dangers of the First District to Eun Gee. In response, Eun Gee assures him that she has already considered the potential consequences of her actions and expresses a sense of resignation, indicating that she is no longer concerned about what might befall her. The weight of her choices and the circumstances they face weigh heavily on both of them as they stand atop the shelter, gazing into the uncertain night. In a moment of vulnerability, Eun Gee once again implores Shuhei for his assistance in reaching her siblings. After pondering her request, Shuhei ultimately agrees to help her, but he puts forth a condition. He asks for something in return, cryptically informing Eun Gee that he wants her. Shuhei further explains that he has a specific favor in mind, yet he refrains from disclosing the details, leaving Eun Gee in a state of speculation and uncertainty. Shuhei goes the extra mile, offering Eun Gee the chance to contemplate his proposal and make her decision at her own pace. To his surprise, Eun Gee wastes no time in accepting Shuhei's demand, a decision that hints at the depth of her desperation to reunite with her siblings, despite the enigmatic nature of Shuhei's request. Their agreement casts a shadow of ambiguity over their partnership as they embark on their journey into the perilous First District. Eun Gee's swift acceptance of Shuhei's demand stems from her earlier admission that she no longer cares about her own fate. In light of this, she readily agrees to Shuhei's terms. Eun Gee, sealing their agreement, requests Shuhei to ensure her safe passage to her siblings and to protect her without fail. As a formal gesture, she extends her arm, solidifying the deal. In this moment of necessity and uncertainty, a pact is forged between Shuhei and Eun Gee, binding their fates together as they set out on their perilous journey to the First District in search of Eun Gee's siblings. The following day, Shuhei takes a shower, wearing a smirk as he reflects on Eun Gee's seemingly swift acceptance of his terms, considering her agreement a sign of naivety. He ponders whether it's a part of human nature to be willing to sacrifice oneself for the sake of loved ones. Nonetheless, he finds a silver lining in having Eun Gee's presence close to him. In front of the mirror, he can't help but murmur to himself about how nice Eun Gee smells. Meanwhile, Eun Gee is plagued by a haunting nightmare. In her dream, she visits her step-siblings, only to find her sister sitting with her back turned. Eun Gee's sister cradles her brother, appearing distressed as she asks for Eun Gee's help. The unsettling dream serves as a stark reminder of the heavy burden she carries and the desperate need to reunite with her siblings. In the unsettling dream, Eun Gee's sister unexpectedly turns around, revealing that she has become one of the infected. This jarring sight startles Eun Gee awake, prompting her to leave her bed. As Eun Gee steps out of her room, she comes face to face with Shuhei, who has just finished his shower. Without delay, Shuhei advises Eun Gee to prepare for their impending departure, noting Ishtar's absence. However, Eun Gee hesitates, prompting Shuhei to remind her of her earlier willingness to act independently of Ishtar's authority. In response, Eun Gee expresses her intent to apologize to Ishtar for her previous behavior. Shuhei reassures her that Ishtar is not the type to hold grudges and that all will likely be forgiven. Following this conversation, Shuhei accompanies Eun Gee to approach the two guards responsible for the ammunition supply within the shelter, with the intention of acquiring shotgun shells to aid in their upcoming journey into the dangerous First District. Initially hesitant to provide scarce ammunition for Eun Gee's training, the guards stand firm. However, Eun Gee takes matters into her own hands, raising the shotgun and taking a shot at a nearby bottle, narrowly missing it. This sudden display of marksmanship astonishes Echo and the other guard. When asked, Eun Gee reveals that she learned to shoot from her father during hunting trips. After some convincing by Eun Gee to Echo, Shuhei manages to obtain a few shotgun shells. Without delay, he departs from the scene, accompanied by Eun Gee. Her unexpected proficiency with firearms leaves an indelible impression as they prepare for their journey into the perilous First District. As our recap concludes, I have a question for you guys. What unforeseen challenges and dangers will Eun Gee and Shuhei encounter as they embark on their journey into the perilous First District armed with shotgun shells? Do let me know your responses in comment section.